Helen here with Eyes on the Game here at RVCA, being joined by the legend, the one and only Mr. Tito Ortiz. Just wrapped up a workout with Jason Perillo, right?
Yeah, we just did 8 rounds. I feel good. You know, we still got about 11 to 12 weeks away. But I want to make sure that I'm prepared for the camp in general. Right now, it's just mostly touching and sparring, not going super hard, but just a lot of repetition over and over. Of course, with my jiu-jitsu, my wrestling, my weight training, and my road work. You know, it's 4 days, 5 days a week, twice on Saturdays, 0 on Sundays.
Because of fishing?
Yeah, because of fishing. But I think if I'm able to start my camp out this far away from a fight, that I'm able to do a little bit of fishing during the week, where I'm able to take a day off, like on a Wednesday or a Monday, or just however my body feels. You know, right now it's more of just the quality of training and not the quantity of it. As I was in the beginning of my career when I was a champ and so forth, I was trying to catch up to all the guys who were champions or ranked in the world who've been fighting for 10 to 15 years. At that time, I was only fighting for, 3 years maybe? Now that I have 22 years of experience, I'm able to kind of gauge my training the right way and precise and quality more than quantity.
Yes, that is always the case. Quality over quantity. But the fight, so I know there's no definite date yet, but rather than October, it will be in late November. What was kind of the factor of having it in November instead?
Well, you know, I think Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving, a lot of viewers, they're at home, they're with their families, and of course, all my fans, they like to be along with their families watching great fights, and I always put on a good fight. So this one won't be any different. I'm going to come in ferocious and on target what I need to do, and that's make Alberto Del Rio look like he doesn't even belong in the cage with me, as I did with Chuck Liddell.
Well, speaking of being in the cage, you guys just kind of had that little, I don't know, a stare down face off in the ring.
Yeah, it was last week in Lake Tahoe with this on Come Out to Americas. They have their show up in Tahoe. And I was out doing autographs with the fans, as I always do. And then all of a sudden I heard Campbell on the mic saying a bunch of stuff, and then saying Alberto Del Rio's name, and Alberto Del Rio raises his hands, and they said, "We know Tito Ortiz is in the house," and that was my key. I was like, oop. He's talking about me. He's talking about Alberto Del Rio. I got to defend myself. I got to step up. So it was like one step to the top of the cage, over to the ring. And they were like, thought I was going to jump on Alberto. And I'm professional, but give me an opportunity to say my piece and defend myself, as I did.
Now, in your eyes, did he seem scared or anything?
We had our first stare down a while back, and I had a conversation actually with the guy prior. And he called me out. He said he wanted to fight me. Come Out to America came to me with the fight, you know, and I still felt like I have a lot more fight in me. And I was like, you know what, let's have some fun and do this for the fans. I was talking to Alberto Del Rio, and I asked him, I was like, where do you live? And he's like, well, I live in San Antonio, Texas now. I go, yeah. He goes, yeah, I moved from Mexico, and I had to move to San Antonio just for the safety of my children, because I don't want them to get kidnapped and so forth. But then later on, we had our little face-off and so forth, and he tried to say something about he's not for the wall, and of course, people know I'm a pro-Trump. I'm for the wall and the safety of our country. And my question to him is, if you're not for the wall, how come you're in our country? And he wants to be safe. So he wants to fight me because, you know, he believes the wall shouldn't be there. He wants to fight for all the immigrants that are illegal. I'm fighting for all the legal immigrants. I'm fighting for everyone who wants to be here safety and not break laws. And I think that's the most important to be an American, is not breaking laws and doing the right things for our country. And I'm going to make that happen. Alberto Del Rio just bit off a little more than he can chew. I'll be ready. I'll do it. My fans know what I know how to do, and that's punish people, fight, put on a show. From when my music goes on until my hand's raised, it'll be entertainment value times 1,000. I can't wait.
But where did all this animosity stem from? Just him calling you out and wanting to fight you in combate?
Well, I think it's a little bit of mixture of him calling me out, that and the stance he has for our safety of our country. I think that's important, because there is a lot of Mexicans, and I mean, not just Mexicans, many people who come across the border legally and who have stand in the line to get their papers, to get their green cards. That's important. They're doing it the legal way. If someone's going to come over illegally, well, what's the chance of them breaking a law when they get to the country? A huge chance. And, you know, I'm not a political person. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm American at the end of the day with Mexican heritage. And, you know, I want to stand for what's right for this country, and that's what I'm standing for. And he's not. He don't care. All he cares about is whoever comes in this country, they should be allowed to come in this country if they work hard. I believe the same thing too, but just as long as they do it in a law manner of obeying our laws. And like I say, I know many Mexicans who come here with a visa or come here with a green card, and they work their butts off to make that happen, and I respect that. And I think everybody respects that in general, because the safety of this country is number one. I don't want to have a lawless country like some of the other countries where they're able to do whatever they want. The murders, the kidnappings, the things that happen on the border. I don't want that in our country, and that's what this fight's kind of about. But at the same time, when Alberto Del Rio calls me out, he's going to take an ass whipping for me. He wants to play his WWE antics as he does. I'm a fighter. I've been a fighter for 22 years. I'm going to hurt the guy, and he doesn't realize it.
What did you think about his WWE career?
It was good. I mean, he was a heavyweight world champion. Congratulations to him. I'm a huge fan of WWE. Shane McMahon actually is a friend of mine. He always hooks me up with tickets for me and my family. I'm very appreciative for that from him. Yeah. I've been a fan and still a fan of a lot of guys. Dwayne Johnson, I've watched his career of professional wrestling, now is one of the blockbuster actors of the world today. I respect the man of this hard work and dedication, not only just behind the camera, but in the gym. He's in the gym at midnight. He's in the gym at 4 a.m. I kind of try to resemble myself amongst the things that he does, and just it gives me something to work hard as an American, show what hard work pays off, and I've been doing it for 22 years.
But have they ever tried to recruit you to the WWE, like Shane?
Yeah. Well, actually, it was Vince, and it was back when I was the world champion in 2002. I went to one of the WrestleManias, and it was, I believe, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, and cool. I went backstage and I was on camera, and I think I should have got a little more character, kind of like the Schmo does. I think I should have got a little more character like he does and put on a show for them. To me, I'm about the real side of fighting. I'm a competitor. I compete, and I want to fight at the best knowledge that I know as a fighter. Not as a professional wrestler. I couldn't understand the characters that they bring in until later on. I did bring that into my fight game as being the Huntington Beach bad boy, but I always spoke the truth. I never lied about a person. I never talked about a person's country. I never talked about a person's family. I just said the truth, and sometimes the truth hurts to some people.
But if Vince or Shane wanted to recruit you now, or even after this fight, after you beat Alberto, would you say yes?
I don't think any of the guys in WWE would want me to come in and smash them, as I will do with Alberto Del Rio. I think it's, I don't know. I don't think any of those guys in WWE could handle me at all. I'm a monster when it comes to being in the cage. Now in the ring, I'll give them the respect value that it is hard work, taking the bumps and doing the work they do. But at the same time, different level. But if Shane, I wouldn't mind it coming out, 3 or 4 times a year, do some of the big pay-per-views. But I don't think any of the guys can hang with me. I'd be beating some guys down. Ken Shamrock did it for a while, and he was ankle locking people left and right. And I knew I have a huge fan base in mixed martial arts, so I've always wanted to keep the mixed martial arts professional side strictly my business.
Speaking of the MMA side, have you watched any of Alberto's MMA fights?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of them. I believe Brad Kohler, and he beat Brad Kohler at heavyweight. I watched him against Krokop, and I watch his feet work. I don't like looking at guys' old fights because you don't know how much they've changed and how much they've progressed and gotten better. I know he's been training since the beginning of the year, so I will not count my chickens before they hatch. I make sure I just work as hard as I possibly can, as I did against Chuck Liddell. I put in an 18-week camp. This camp, I put about 18 to 17 weeks. But I just want to show how good I've gotten over the last, 10 years, because my life has changed completely. Over the last 6 years, my life has came full circle. No more injuries. My mindset is completely positive. The positive reinforcement I get from Jason Perillo, from Rafael Davis, Scott Carr, is just amazing what your mind can really achieve when you have a good support system. My significant other, Amber Cole Miller, she actually is just an amazing woman. She has my back no matter what. I just like to have the support in a positive reinforcement environment, and I think it helps human nature in general just to perform and produce great things, as I do with my kids. I don't try to be negative towards my kids. Amber doesn't try to be negative towards our kids. We try to raise them instead of putting them down, and it's important. And I even catch my kids when they try to put down each other and making fun of each other. I tell them stop and don't do that. Raise each other's attitudes and raise them in a positive manner. Don't make fun of each other. Help each other to become better. And they understand. They get it. My oldest son Jacob, before my fight against Chuck, he gave me a little advice of, Dad, I know you're, because I told him I was kind of not scared, but just a little not sure about myself. And he's like, Dad, you put in the work. You should be positive. He goes, I read a thing on the internet and it said, take that negative feeling and turn it into a positive, into a happiness. Yeah. He goes, if you turn it into a happiness, he goes, Dad, feels like when you won the world title, when you beat Ryan Bader, how'd that feel? I go, put a smile on my face. He goes, that's exactly the same feeling that you get when you have a negative thought. And he goes, turn that negative thought into a positive reinforcement and you'll be fine. You put in the work, Dad. You worked hard for it. And this is my 17 now, but 16 when I fought Chuck. Yeah. Year-old giving me advice. I mean, I was 43 at the time, and it was steep, but it was great because it's know that, you know, my ex-wife Chris is doing a great job as a mother, is raising him, and I'm doing a great job as a father, that he's able to recognize that at the age that he's at, because when I was at his age, I could never recognize something like that, to give advice to a professional athlete or even a father at the time, and I was thankful for it. But once again, it goes back to positive reinforcement of just believing of what you know you can do, because I know what I can do now. You know, I don't have a president, a promoter bad talking me and put me in a bad picture and in a bad limelight. Now I'm able to focus on what I need to do at home, in the gym, in sparring, in training, every single day, of just having that positive reinforcement. You know, Campbell with Combat the Americas and all the staff at Combat this, they've been amazing with me. I'm very fortunate, very thankful, and it's nice to be in shape. It's nice to be in fight shape. I mean, if I could do 8 rounds and I'm 11 weeks away, you know, Jason's like, we get to take some time off during this camp. I'm ready, Jay. I'm happy. Yeah. I want to compete. I'm motivated. I want to compete. It's just I want to do it in a positive manner, not someone always on my neck and tell me how piece of a shit I am or I'm a horrible fighter. And you know, I got thick skin. You know, I've been through the ringer a few times. And I got to be thankful for all my fans who support me. Of course, you know, I'm starting my YouTube. I'm starting to do a lot of production for that. We start actually today at 5 o'clock. It'll come out, which is Friday today. And we have episode 1 of Tito Ortiz Uncaged, and we'll be doing it all the way up to the fight. And it's with my cameras, the truth. There's no stories bent. It's the way the truth should be and should have been told at the beginning of my career. But now finally I'll have a voice, and I have a lot of fans who listen, so I'm very thankful.
So youtube.com/Tito Ortiz.
Correct.
Awesome. Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, you can actually go to my Instagram, and on my bio, it has the link on there. And just click.
Link in bio.
Click bio, subscribe. Please tell your friends. Share as much as you possibly can. Give me the respect, values that I've had over the last 22 years. I've worked hard, and I'm just thankful for my fans and have the opportunity to entertain.
Yes, and they're all anticipating your return back to the cage, of course. But I noticed that you mentioned there's 2 fights. You signed for 2 fights. So is there a rematch clause in this one? I
don't think he's going to want a rematch. I really don't. I'm going to buzzsaw through this guy.
First round?
100% first round. I guarantee you. I guarantee it. I'll be patient. I'll take my time, and I'll pick my points. I'll look for my punches. I'll look for my kicks. I'll look for my takedowns. And if I get him in position, I'm going to smash him. My cardio will be through the roof. I'll be able to throw as many punches as I possibly can to stop this guy. It's just, I give him the respect value of calling me out. You know, to him, it's a win-win situation. For me, it's a lose-lose situation. And I don't really care, because I get the opportunity to entertain my fans, and that's my number one. Don't matter what promotion it's for, it's still just my name competing against another man.
Yeah, and earlier when you were talking about President Trump, and I know how much you support him, someone else I recently interviewed who supports him as well, Colby Covington. Yep. What do you think of him, and have you met him before or talked to him? You know,
Mr. Cardio, you know, the cardio champ. I dig the kid. You know, he has a great character that he sticks to. You know, him supporting our country. I'm very happy with him. I'm happy with the fact that he supports our president, no matter what is said. You know, I get a lot of heat because I have Mexican heritage in my blood of my family, but there's so many other Mexicans that do support Trump. But he does a great job. I'm proud to call him a fellow American.
What did you think about the Stipe versus DC rematch?
Congrats, Stipe. You know, actually, Stipe came out here. He was in Huntington. He trained at the UFC gym. A few days before the fight, his manager reached out to me. He's like, Tito, you have a gym that he could train? I go, you know what, let me make a call to the UFC gym. I made a call down there to DJ, and he said, Tito, Stipe, of course. Stipe came in, did some pad work, worked in the octagon a little bit, and you know, I just told him, use your reach and make sure you're just circling, man. And he showed what the champion is. That's the true character of a champion. Is someone who could come back and beat someone. I think, what was he, like a 4-1 underdog, I think, or something like that? Yeah. And to show what he did, that was great, you know. Daniel Cormier is a great champion. I take nothing away from him. He's a hardworking man, but Stipe just is a little bit bigger, a little bit better fighter. He came in a little lighter at 230. I kind of questioned. I was like, wow, he's light, you know. And Daniel actually does well against bigger guys, but the smaller, faster guys, he has a little problem with that, as he did with Johnny Bones Jones. And that just shows that speed will beat size 100%.
But where do you rank Stipe amongst the top heavyweights of all time?
Heavyweights of all time? Wow. He'd have to be a number one now, because, you know, I see Daniel Cormier was number one because he used to beat so many heavyweights at the time. You know, heavyweights just kept falling back and forth, you know.
Like better than Fedor?
Better than Fedor, because Fedor never fought tough competition. He always fought guys that Pride always wanted him to fight. Then all of a sudden when he came here and he fought, you know, he was losing. It's just the opponents that they had for him. I mean, I have nothing against Fedor. He's an amazing athlete. He was one of the greatest heavyweight champions, but it's just father time catches up to some people, not me, thank God. But you know, Stipe is the best in the world right now. He's, you know, he beat Fabricio Verdun, who was one of the submission masters, and knocked him out. I mean, Stipe has beat a lot of great guys, and I got to give him all the credit, you know, for beating Daniel Cormier and knocking him out. You know, I couldn't believe Daniel didn't try to take him down more, but Stipe is a great wrestler, and you know, I take my hats off to Stipe. He did an amazing job.
And lastly, what would you like to tell all your fans who will be tuning in to both your YouTube channel and your fight?
Just watch the show of Tito Ortiz Uncaged. I'm going to give you everything 100% raw, from the heart of my career, of my life, what I've gone through, what I'm doing, what I'm going to be doing. And, you know, it's for my fans. If it wasn't for my fans, I wouldn't be here right now. You know, at the end of the day, you know, there's no hatred towards Dana or the UFC or Bellator. I'm thankful for them giving me the opportunity that I've had, but I'm the one that's putting in the hard work. I've been the one that's fought the top of the top, the cream of the crop, the best fighters that they've always tried to put against me. Either I won, either I lost, or I drew, but I always fought the best. And now it's time to have some fun. You know, people are trying to give right off Alberto Del Rio, saying, oh, you're going to smash him, haha, it's a funny fight, he's an old man. Well, this old man's a lot older than him, so I'm here to have fun, and hope you all tune in. Follow me on Tito Ortiz 1989, and of course Tito Ortiz on Twitter, and my YouTube. Just click on my bio on my Instagram. That's Tito Ortiz 1989, and subscribe, share, please. I'm building.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for your time. Always great to talk to you.
Cool. And I think the schmo's around here somewhere.
Yeah.
I know he wants to sit down and have a little conversation. So I like the kid. I think the kid's doing good for the sport, and let's find him and bring him in.
Yes. Let me go look for him.